Howdy folks, and welcome to the Hillbilly Kitchen. Today we're making chocolate covered bacon. Well, this is a very simple video, very simple recipe. You need bacon and you need chocolate. There's a lot of different things you can use for chocolate dip. You can get the chocolate dip in pieces and just melt those if you want to. I've done several chocolate dipped videos, and what I use in mine is 1/2 milk chocolate, 1/2 semi-sweet chocolate, and for every cup of chocolate chips that I use a tablespoon of coconut oil. And you might be able to see the two different colors of chocolate in here. You can use all dark chocolate, you can use all milk chocolate, you could use some espresso in there or instant coffee, the instant espresso or instant coffee, and give it like a mocha flavor. And there's all kinds of stuff that you can top your bacon with to kind of decorate it when you're done if you'd like. You can sprinkle it with chopped nuts, coarse salt. You could take a little white chocolate and drizzle it. You could also put food coloring in it and drizzle it with the color. That's just up to you. I like it just plain chocolate bacon when I'm gonna make it. And to melt the chocolate, if you melt it in the microwave, you want to be very, very careful. 1 minute, and then after that, do it for 15 seconds. What I'm using today is I put my chocolate in the microwave for 1 minute, and then I sat it over a bowl of hot water. And I did it this way because I figured everybody's got a bowl or 2 bowls that they can put together like I've done here. Just fill the bottom one with hot water and then sit your chocolate over top of it. And you can see there that it melts it. Now what the coconut oil does in this is it makes the chocolate shiny, and it also makes it liquidy enough that you can dip the bacon or whatever else you're dipping in it, and it will flow. If you just try to melt the chocolate chips, it won't flow. You need that tablespoon per cup. You can also use shortening, a tablespoon of shortening per cup of chocolate chips. I'm thinking that you could probably also use bacon grease in this, but if you're making this for somebody special for Valentine's Day, unless you're thinking that a funeral is cheaper than a divorce, you might want to consider going with the coconut oil because this is a pretty rich treat. And you just stir it until it's smooth. Now, if you overheat your chocolate in the microwave, it's going to make it lumpy and you're never going to get it smooth. So if you're doing it in the microwave, be very, very careful, and only 15 seconds at a time after that first minute. And you can see how shiny this is and how it flows. It looks like tempered chocolate. And all you got to do is stir in that coconut oil or shortening, and it gives you that look without the work. Now to make my bacon, I put it in the oven and bake it. I have a video on exactly how to do that, and I will link it. If it's really, really thick bacon, you can cook it at 400. If you have thinner bacon, you want to cook it at about 350. But I will link that video. And I recommend baking it. You can fry it, but when you bake it, it makes these perfect flat strips like this. And it's very, very hard to get a perfect flat strip of bacon in a skillet. So I bake mine. When you bake it, you want to drain it well, and you want to blot it with paper towels. And I actually did this twice, and you can see how much grease is still on the paper towel. You do want to use paper towels for this, or you could use tea towels, you know, the little thin dish towels, reusable, that don't have any lint on them. But you have to blot it with something. And when you're draining it and blotting the grease off of it, If it's stuck together, make sure you separate it while it's still warm, otherwise it'll break when you try to separate the pieces. That's really about the only trick to it. Make sure it's laying on something flat. If you like sit it on a plate and drain it, most plates have a little cup to them, and your pieces of bacon will be curved. After you've drained it, baked it and drained it, then you want to cool it completely before you try to dip it. Now, the colder your bacon is, the more chocolate is going to stick to it when you dip it. I get mine just to about room temperature. If you put it in the fridge and got it really, really cold, then more of the chocolate would stiffen up and stick to your bacon than if it's at room temperature. If it's really hot and you try to dip it hot, the chocolate's just going to melt and it's all going to run off of it. That's why you want to cool it completely. I don't recommend putting it in the freezer, because if you get it that cold, it's going to make your chocolate lump up. You're going to have trouble keeping your chocolate warm enough to flow, and it's going to be super thick, and you're not going to have that right combination of sweet and salty. So the only other thing is you want to line a cookie sheet with some wax paper and dip your chocolate. And you're probably going to want to use a spoon, because obviously this piece of bacon is not going to fit down in my bowl, to make sure you get it covered. A lot of folks leave a little piece, just a little bit on the end, so you've got something that you can pick it up with. It's up to you if you want to leave a little bit on the end, or if you want to coat it right up there, and then you can just break that little bitty bit off the end so that the whole piece is chocolate. And you just coat it, let the excess kind of drip off, and then lay it and let it cool. And when it gets cool, the chocolate and the bacon will be crisp. You do want to store this in the refrigerator. Don't leave this one sitting out on the countertop. Don't ship it. It actually has bacon in it. And if you try to ship it, by the time it gets where it's going, it will be spoiled. And you can see that bowl of hot water keeps our chocolate nice and warm so that it runs real well, and we're not having trouble coating the bacon with it. Oops, I missed some. If you miss a little bit, it's no big deal. Just put a little bit in your spoon and cover it. And you can do that with the ends too, where you were holding it while you were dipping it. You could cover that once you get it on the cookie sheet. But it's up to you. Lots of times folks will leave, a good amount on the end that's not covered. They'll do it like that so that you have a big part that's not covered. And you just keep going till you have it all dipped. And it really doesn't matter, if you get a little messy with it, because the excess chocolate will either break off, or you can trim it off with a knife. You don't want to let too much of it run off, because then again, it'll be like, if you put it in the freezer and you got too much chocolate on it, your sweet and salty ratio won't be quite right. I told Melinda I was doing this video, and she said that she paid $20 a strip for chocolate covered bacon in a candy store in Florida once. Why on earth you would pay $20 a strip for any kind of bacon is beyond me, but this is a fairly expensive candy, dessert, dish, gift, whatever you want to call it, and it does make a nice gift. And this is something, different for the men in your life. Most men don't really want a dozen roses and a foil heart full of candy. That's not a man thing. But some chocolate dipped bacon, and maybe put it in something like this. You would want to wrap it up probably in some wax paper or tissue, and you could get colored tissue and wrap it up and it would be fine. Or even you could get some of these coffee cups and just stick it in the coffee cups, arrange a few pieces in there. And that would be something that's a little more manly for Valentine's Day. And I am going to link, I have all kinds of chocolate dipping videos, cream-filled chocolates, chocolate truffles, chocolate nut clusters, which to make chocolate nut clusters, all you would do is dump nuts in chocolate like this, and then scoop them out in spoonfuls on wax paper. And if you have leftover chocolate, when you make your chocolate bacon like I do, pour some nuts in that and dip it out, and then you have chocolate nut clusters to go with your chocolate bacon that you could put in your whatever kind of little container you get if you're giving this to a man for Valentine's Day, or maybe you're making it and giving it to a special woman, whatever. You can do nut clusters with no other ingredients except some salted nuts, and it's good with cashews and peanuts and pecans and just almonds and everything. You can throw it right in that chocolate. And I will also link that video on how to bake your bacon so that you can get the nice flat strips like this. And that literally is all there is to making this. And like I said, take your leftovers, make some nut clusters, but I'll link all those candy videos. So if you want to do a homemade Valentine's this year, you can get all the different candy recipes and make it all yourself instead of going that commercial way. I also have a lot of really good strawberry desserts. I'll link some of those in the description. Because it's Valentine's Day and so many people seem to be having trouble with love, I wanted to talk about love for just a few minutes. 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8 says, "Love is patient and kind. It does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth." That is the perfect description of love. But did you ever wonder why different translations of the Bible translate the same Hebrew word for love and charity? And it's not only in this scripture, but it's in several scriptures. Love is translated as charity. Now, what I'm about to tell you is not what your therapist is going to tell you, and it's not what the world is going to tell you, and it's not what you're going to see in a chick flick or a romantic comedy. Real love, true love, the kind of love that God made us to feel, is charity. It is a gift, a sacrifice that we offer without expectation of return. The Bible says that men are to love their wives as Christ loved the church. Christ loved us so much that he sacrificed himself for us before we ever even knew him. And real love, that kind of love that lasts a lifetime, that kind of love that the Bible is talking about when it says to become one, you can't have that without sacrifice. You can't have that without giving. And as bad as it hurts, and as hard as it is, you have to give yourself without expectation of return to truly be loved. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you all find, give, enjoy true love. Thank you for joining us in the Hillbilly Kitchen. If you haven't already, please don't forget to click like and subscribe before you leave. And until next time, remember to put God first.